home of the brave. If it wasn't there, then your TOT, your time on target, was off.
Welcome to Stars of Service on Queen City News Plus. I'm your host, Brian Christensen. Let's go back to 1995 at Clemson, the site of the very first Carolina Panthers game and its first military flyover that helped ring it in style. Joining me this morning is retired Air Force Brigadier General Iwan Klontz and retired Tech Sergeant David Svensson. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Great to be here.
It is super fun to be here.
What in the world? How is this 30 years ago?
We blinked our eyes and we felt like we were there yesterday.
Absolutely.
So paint the picture. I mean, talk to me about this first game, the excitement anyway of the very first Panthers regular season game. But you guys had that special connection there. You're going to have the first flyover.
It was unique for sure. Even up where we were, well above most of the crowd, you could feel the excitement over And it was for me too. Being born and raised in Charlotte, I followed the path of the Panthers as they evolved, and was proud to be a part of that very first flight.
Yeah, the first thing I think about is the buzz and the excitement level in the air. It was palpable in Charlotte with the stadium coming up out of the ground, but it not being ready yet. So we all went down to Clemson to do that first season. The 54,000 people just jammed into this place, just waiting for the Dom Capers to run out there and take everybody out on the field, and it was fantastic. And it makes me think about how cool that time was, because everybody was like so anticipating. I mean, they were Panther jerseys everywhere, and branding was everywhere, and it was such an exciting time because I mean, people in the Carolinas, you had to be a fan of somebody else because we didn't have a team.
But your connections to that game, General, that was really cool. You got to actually call in the flyover. Talk to me. How did that happen?
The request came down to provide flyby. There's a good bit of paperwork that goes on with that.
Right.
That has to be accomplished. The promoter for the event itself typically does that. Usually I oversee it and make sure that it's done right and all that kind of stuff. Goes to the FAA flight standards and they approve it. And this one it was quite benign. There wasn't anything extra we wanted to do. We just wanted to fly over a stadium, not in a terribly urban area,
right,
at 1,000 feet and in a formation, and life was good. So we were able to get that taken care of, and then there's also a jump team involved. I was involved with getting them in as well. But it's always exciting to be on the ground, even to this day. We'll watch the beginning of a game. We have no intention of watching the game, just to watch the flyby.
Right.
And our tolerances on that started just to be there during the flyby. Then is the more we did over the years, the more it became just to be in the home of the brave. Home of the brave. If it wasn't there, then your TOT, your time on target, was off.
Right.
And we tried really hard to make that happen. And part of that's the education of the people on the ground that you can't skyhook a formation of airplanes.
Right.
If you need to build the events lighting up to the flyby, around the flyby. If you have someone singing too long, if you have someone talking too long or too short, then everybody in the crowd thinks that the formation is either late or early.
Right.
And that's my job, to make them look as good as I possibly can.
Well, they still look fantastic. Now, David, what was your role? How were you out on the field?
I think we were talking about this earlier. I was trying to figure out where my role was at what time. I was up shooting this fine gentleman doing his.
But let me take that back a little bit. What was your job in the Air National Guard?
Oh, I was a camera operator. So my first couple of years I was in the security police, but then at some point on some exercise, I started looking over and seeing, hey, there are guys with cameras over there. And that's what I do in my real, what are they doing? So I cross-trained into the combat camera guys. And so I was I was some of this video you're saying, well, there are two of us down there. The better video is probably Dieter Melhorn, but I was one of those guys shooting that video of the planes coming in, and that whip pan you just saw was probably mine. Okay, great. And no, I was just kidding. No, I'm not. And but it was great, and to see guys who shoot these things on weekends as Air National Guard guys who are 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks out of the year. It's still fun for us to watch these guys do this and make this happen and be so on point with it and make it look just effortless. It's super cool.
Well, we're going to actually take a listen to what you're actually saying, General, of how the flyover is going to happen.
Confirm jumpers away.
Before we right to go right.
TOT is going to be good.
Beacon.
All 4 jumpers are on the ground. Confirming, still looking for a good 5-6, a 5-6 TOT.
North Carolina movie. Sharon Morris perform.
Aircraft are about 30 seconds out.
Sing now.
It's too late now, buddy.
I thought she's standing up rail.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Looked great. They were a little late queuing her out on the field. There's nothing you could do about that. I wasn't going to slow you down where you're on short final. Looked great.
Wow. How absolutely awesome. You got to call in the very first flyover for the very first game.
Right.
I mean, just looking back at this, what memories are going on right now?
Part of it is the technical aspects of it. If I'd done something else, maybe it would have been better or whatever. I still get goosebumps every time I see something like that. If you notice, I'm holding the mic up. I learned after doing a few of these, it's really good in the cockpit to hear what's going on and hear the applause. So I'm holding the mic up so that the crews, all 3, could hear.
Oh, wow.
Not so much the national anthem, but the applause and the whistling and all that goes on after the fact. And of course, I was coordinating the jumps as well, and that's how come I had two handsets up to my ears, and I had my son working a radio going down to the guys down on the ground. So I ran out of hands and ears, but I was pleased with the performance overall.
Oh, this is just awesome. We're going to take a quick break. We will come right back. Welcome back to Stars of Service on Queen City News Plus. I'm Brian Christensen, joined by General Klontz and David Svensson. Both both were there for the very first flyover for the very first regular season, the home opener game. How do you say that? In the 1995
inaugural
season.
Inaugural.
Thank
It wasn't
you
very
very
home,
much.
but you know what we mean.
You can sit in this seat if you want to.
No, I'm just
We were talking a little bit about the complexity on how you actually, you're on 2 radios. So there's a shot in there where the camera tilts down and you can see like a radio pack. What exactly, what are the radios that you're both on?
They're both air-to-air or air-to-ground portable radios. I don't remember what the jump platform was for the Green Beret team. Usually they jump out of a helicopter, so I assume that's what it was. And I needed to talk to them, and they have communication between the jumpers and the ground, and they're the easy part because they're not really timed into anything that's all that specific, like the national anthem. They're hard to. If you notice, they're delivering the flag. That's part of their requirements, and then the other radio is so I can talk or to the promoter, whoever is doing the work down on the field.
Right.
And some of the time I've had a situation where a group was supposed to come out and sing and they didn't come out. And the promoter, it wasn't the promoter's fault, but by the same token, airplanes are 2 minutes out. So once again, Clausen's axiom here: you can't stop the flight. You can't
Right.
Air hook the flight. So it was at Memorial Stadium, and there wasn't one person in there that didn't think that we were 2 minutes early.
Right.
And that is what I try to get together. The biggest thing that comes out of that is understanding of whoever's on the ground running the national anthem. Just that. TOT is hard, and we need time on target, and we need to do all you can to build whatever you need to do around it so it's not changed. More than a few seconds, anyway.
We have some other videos of some flyovers. I think it's file 3. It's these are just different flyovers I found from the Divids website. All kinds of different services flying over different games. I think there was a Super Bowl in there. But I mean, it's not just the national anthem is going to start. You got to be exactly this far out. It's a long process. I mean, granted, you were talking about paperwork before, approvals and all kinds of FAA. I can't even imagine how long it actually takes to get the approval for that.
90 days is at least when I was doing it was what the minimum time was to get everything through their FAA requirements. It's got to go to flight standards, which is their standard val. It's their civilian equivalent, police department. Make sure everything's legal.
Right.
And if you're asking for a waiver to say fly it at 500 feet instead of 1,000 feet, they're the ones who give the waiver or anything else over a crowd.
Right.
You need a waiver to fly over the crowd.
So we've so the North Carolina Air Guard has done plenty of flyovers for the Carolina Panthers. What other events have we or have they flown over?
I'm no expert on any within the last few years. The ones I was directly involved in was one downtown Charlotte for Discovery Place, multiple flyovers for the Panthers downtown, flyovers for the racetrack for the 600, flyovers again downtown for Veterans Day. Had some fighters come in for that. It's been a bunch of them. Probably I did at least 1 or 2 a year, and over a 30-year career of doing this, it mounts up.
And that's on top of all of the other responsibilities you already have as
right.
And you kind of I forgot your jobs in the Air Force. If you could just list them for us, please.
Started off enlisted as a weather person, a weather observer. Did that for 7 years. Then had the opportunity to go fly, and of course that's what my goal was all along, getting in the Guard in the first place. And did that, came back, and pretty much jumped into tactics. I was a tactics officer from almost the beginning, and what that is in English is pretty much do all the jobs the other navigators don't want to do. And so I did noise complaints. I did.
How do you answer a noise complaint? Sorry,
politely. I found the biggest thing with a noise complaint is care.
Right.
If they were adamant enough to not use the phone call as just an excuse to vent, I'd keep my flight suit on and go out and sit down on the front porch with them and take a chart with them and show, okay, this is why we fly here. This is why we need to be flying at 300 feet, because low level that we did at the time was 300 feet.
Right.
I mean, 300 AGL, 300 feet above the ground. And, okay, if you need be, I'll circle this and we will not fly directly over your knee. You're going to hear us because we'll fly maybe a mile or two either side, but do something to react to it. Usually that wasn't a requirement.
Well, that's sound of freedom.
And then the word got out that I did that, and my friends at FAA somehow had me listed in all the FAA regs saying that I was the point of contact for all military noise complaints. So I was getting noise complaints from Marine helicopters somewhere east of Wilmington.
We're going to send you this nice gentleman in a flight suit, have some sweet tea on your front porch and talk about life.
So I didn't mind doing it, but that was a little excessive. But I was plans officer. I couldn't keep a job. Plans officer. Let's see what else. OSF, Operational Support Flight Commander. Then went down to Stanley County and stood up an outfit called ASOS, which
I know them well.
Which is in English are the guys who are just typically assigned to the Army or Marine Corps that are on the pointy end of the spear that call in airstrikes on bad guys. I stood it up and then was pinned shortly after that to brigadier, and I went to Raleigh. It was as the deputy tagged adjutant general, and basically my responsibility of that was doing state events, state requirements, state budget, that kind of thing.
Activations and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. We're going to take one more quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Stars of Service. I'm here with General Klontz and David Svensson, both retired from the Air National Guard. We got to hear from General Klontz on his illustrious career, and now we're going to jump over to David. So, David, you were security forces, basically Air Force cop, and then you went over to you're like, hey, look at that camera guy over there. How do I do that? What happened? How did that happen?
Well, when I first went in, I had an opportunity to do the security police stuff. And we had a neighbor when I was growing up that was a highway patrolman. And I was always fascinated by his stories and what he would talk about and how he dealt with situations. And I was always like, tell me more, tell me another story. So when I had that opportunity to do that from a military perspective, I was like, dude, I'm in. It's just to learn more about what that was like. Well, it didn't take me long to start seeing people with cameras and doing the things that I was doing in my civilian life over there.
Right.
And I was like, I think I want to find out what's going on over there. So they allowed me to cross-train over to that. And then I was able to do a good 10 years of that. And it was fantastic. It was a super fun. It's fun to be able to do something in your military career that you do in your civilian career path.
Right.
Because you don't have to.
I don't know anyone like that.
I know.
I don't either.
Yeah. So it's
some of the pilots.
Yeah. So it was fun. I had a great time.
It's funny because you were behind the camera in your regular job, but during the guard weekend, everyone knew who you are. Whenever we would walk down to the cafeteria or the dining hall, hey, look, it's the face of the North Carolina Air Guard. So in full transparency, we created, you all created a fantastic Air Guard video magazine, just a quick, 4 or 5 minute. This is what happened last Air Guard weekend. This is before YouTube. This is before social media. This was before, this was during videotapes. And the only way you could see this was basically on base because it just was, there was no way to get it out to show the community, hey, this is our mission. This is what we do on a daily, every weekend, 1 weekend a month, that type of thing. So we're just going to pull up that little clip and see you, do your intro there.
This is where I go, great.
Well, this is me. So yeah.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Air Guard Video Magazine. I'm Tech Sergeant David Svensson. Coming up on the show this month, we're going to go behind the scenes with some Air Guard firefighters. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this February edition of Air Guard Video Magazine. I'm Tech Sergeant David Svensson. You're probably wondering why we're at Daytona International Speedway. There's a connection here. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Air Guard Video Magazine. I'm Tech Sergeant David Svensson. This month, we're going to tell you about our new Air Traffic Control Squadron. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this June edition of Air Guard Video Magazine. I'm Tech Sergeant David Svensson. This month, we're in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Hi, everybody, I'm Tech Sergeant David Svensson, and welcome to Air Guard Video Magazine.
Right there.
This marketing effort is a great way of putting us on track towards our goal of raising the public level of awareness of the North Carolina Air National Guard.
Well, not about wraps it up for this edition of Air Guard Video Magazine.
So every month, you and Keith Dennis would come in on a Friday night and work overnight so that thing was ready for all the commanders to watch the next morning, which was fantastic. I mean, I don't know how you actually were able to operate the next day, but it was such an amazing thing to watch you do that. And you were a little bit of my inspiration. I just like to be behind the camera like you. So this is a little weird for me too. But but to go back and to see some of these clips, and it brings it, decades ago, just instantly here we are again. So what are you feeling?
Well, it gave me a great opportunity. I now, all these years later, have a 15-year-old son who has a podcast. And so I'm seeing him do these things weekly.
Right.
And when you reached out to me and sent me a clip of some of those things that none of us had seen in years. And at that time in my life, in that stage, I was told, hey, this is what we need. This is what you're going to do. And at that time, I did what I thought I was supposed to look like, what I was supposed to sound like, what I was supposed to say. Yeah. Well, it's given me an amazing opportunity to tell my son all these years later, by the way, go be you. You don't have to be the news guy.
Right.
He has a podcast called Presidents Unplugged, and he talks about presidents, and he's fascinated with presidents and politics. And the best thing about what he's doing is he shows up, and on that podcast, he's himself.
Right.
He's Ty Svensson. He's not what he thinks he needs to sound like in front of nobody wants that. Be you, dude. So you sending me those has given me an amazing opportunity to say, go be you. People like you for you. You don't have to be what you think people. So it's fun to look back at it. Scary to look back at it and go, yeah. But so it's been great. It's been fun.
Let me add something to that as well. As a commander going into 7 o'clock meeting with all the other commanders that we had every drill, the very first thing up was always the video magazine.
Right.
And we loved it. And it gave, I was a commander of one of the smallest units on the base. I knew what my unit was doing, but I didn't necessarily know what Gills was doing. And it gave me a chance to have some empathy and knowledge about what the rest of the base was going. What we do is terribly stovepiped sometimes.
Right.
And this was a great tool.
Awesome.
I should have told you that 35 years ago.
But I'm going to dovetail on that and say one of the greatest things, and doing what I do in my daily job now, X amount of years later, the greatest thing about that role was exactly what you just said. I was constantly getting my learn on about what the people 2 buildings down were doing, right. What the people in Stanley County were doing.
What do they do?
And exactly, it was the coolest. We had the greatest job out there because we get a chance to learn every day and and be a sponge and just go, I want to find out what they do
and prove that everyone else was working.
It was fun. That was probably the most fun part of that whole job.
Well, one more quick thing about the flyover. General, you brought something in. We're going to take a quick look at that. The picture was just so
wow. Look at that. All 3 aircraft perfectly positioned. Oh, it's perfect. And the fine gentleman who brought this in, I'm going to pass that along and let him show us what's going on there.
It obviously is right at the beginning of the national anthem. Help me out how to hold it without a glare.
There you go. You're good.
And Sarah Lawrence down there starting the song, and the formation is impeccable. And by the way, the guys everybody that my memory serves me correctly, is part of the crews, went to Clemson. So there's a little vested interest in participating with it. But the guy who did the pregame and halftime show, Jay Howard Events, had this made for me, and I was tickled with it.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on today. I wanted to also say that all of those Air National Guard video magazines are out on YouTube at the North Carolina Air Guard's historical YouTube page. But
they were just taken down last week, right?
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
You didn't pay me off. Nope, sorry. They're there on repeat.
My kids are getting great laughs.
Gentlemen, thank you again so much for coming in, and thank you for watching.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.